Hey everybody, Jeff Joyner here. Well, it's June 1st, and that means it is my wedding anniversary. 32 years ago today, my best friend Kathy and I committed to each other to live together forever as one. Best decision I ever made, biggest day of my life, but recently uncovered some never before seen video from that day. And some things were awesome about that day, and some things did not go very well at all. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about that amazing day in 1991, share some very low quality VHS shoulder mounted camcorder footage, and share a few lessons about, what I kind of learned going through that experience and how I look back on it subsequently. So before I get into it, make sure if you are enjoying my videos to subscribe, click on the notification bell. You can be notified when I come out with new videos, and hopefully you're getting some out of these. So June 1st, 1991. Whew, big day. So my wife and I had dated all through college. We met our freshman year of college. You may have seen the video I made on Kathy's birthday, I think last year, about do you believe in love at first sight? I met this girl from Vermont, and I told my friend Mark Murdoch, that's the girl I'm going to marry. And sure enough, 2.5 years later, we got engaged, and 3.5 years later, we got married. And so we were getting married at the end of our college experience. We were both graduating with bachelor's degrees from a little college called Cedarville University. Back then it was actually called Cedarville College. It wasn't even a university yet. And we were looking at maybe getting married later, sometime that summer. Problem was, Kathy grew up in Vermont. I grew up in Michigan. If we had a wedding in Vermont, we thought, a lot of our friends aren't going to be able to come. They're all leaving college, starting new jobs, new careers, moving all around the country. Probably aren't going to all cart their way out to Vermont. I don't think her parents were very excited about having a wedding in Detroit, Michigan, where my family was from. Which would be closer for people, but still not ideal. So we decided, well, what if we got married right here in our little college town? And we looked at maybe doing it in the summer, but it makes sense for everybody to leave and come back. So we said, what if we did it that same weekend? So on June 1st, we had graduation in the morning, and then we got married that night. I actually recently found some video footage of our graduation ceremony. And so here's Kathy and I graduating. I don't know how many people in our graduating class. Graduation was in the gym. Then afterwards, getting together with family and friends and shooting pictures, and a lot of happy memories from that day. A lot of good friends. A lot of friends that I've lost touch with, but a lot of friends that I'm still friends with. Then we kind of took a break in the afternoon. Kathy and I had, you're not supposed to see the bride on the wedding day, until the wedding, but we already kind of blew that with graduation. So we had some lunch at Little Colonial Pizza there in, downtown Cedarville, Ohio. And the wedding was like at 7 o'clock that night. And so, we didn't really know much about planning a wedding. We hadn't really been to weddings. And so really looking back on it was kind of lame. It was at this little Baptist church in Cedarville, Grace Baptist Church. And they didn't allow any rock and roll music or dancing. And we said, it's going to have been a long day for everybody anyway. We decided to not even have a meal. And so I don't know if you've ever been to a wedding reception with no food. All we had is, cake and mince later. But we had the ceremony. My brothers and Kathy's brother, Bill, were my best men. Kathy had some of her best friends that were her maid of honors. And you know what? People talk about their beautiful, perfect wedding day. Our wedding day was not perfect. First thing that happened is that one of Kathy's bridesmaids, whose name was Lisa, decided right when we were all getting ready to walk up the aisle, she's like, I can't do it. I can't do it. What? She's like, I'm not feeling well. And she took off. So we're like, so now we had more guys on the one side than we had women on the other side, which is, unconventional. And she went and changed into her shorts. And she was a bit odd. And so we're like, all right, strike one, the wedding party's falling apart already. The second thing that happened is we go up there and, they had the ring ceremony where you exchange the rings. And it's a beautiful time. It's a beautiful ceremony. The guy that was conducting the wedding was Dr. Murdoch. He was the chair of the history department at our university. He was my best friend Mark's dad. And so he agreed to do officiate our wedding. He was also a minister. And I got some video here. I don't think you can really see in the video, but we had practiced, we'd rehearsed this. And, the maid of honor and the best man had the rings. And he said, all right, I'm going to hold out this open Bible. I want you to set the rings, on the Bible. And then, Jeff and Kathy can pick them off of there to put on each other's fingers. Well, as he's pontificating about the rings are a symbol of eternal union and undying love and affection, one of the rings slides off the page and falls on the ground, ting ting ting, bounces away. I don't know how many people saw it, but the flower girl, who was our niece Christy, who's now grown up, she's married, she's got kids of her own, but she was just a wee lass at the time, and she picks it up. And we're all looking at her, and I didn't know if she was going to wing it out in the audience or but she handed it to her mom, who handed it back to the pastor, crisis averted. The other unusual moment happened, during the candle lighting ceremony. I don't know if you've ever been, I don't know how many weddings you've been to, but if you've been to a few, you've probably seen the candle lighting ceremony. And so the idea is you got two small thin candles and then one big main candle. And the two candles represent the individual families. And we are both leaving our individual families. And often, and I think even in our wedding, those candles were lit by our moms. Went up on stage and lit those candles. One for the Joyner family, one for the Duham family. And then during the ceremony, we're going to take the two candles and unite them on the wick of the big candle, representing our new family that we're creating. You blow out the other candles. Hooray! What a beautiful metaphor. Wow. What we probably should have done was rehearsed that part and lit these candles, because the main candle that we had this little teeny short wick, and the candle had a big circumference. And, I'm not a scientist or a mathematician, but big circumference candle, teeny little wick. When it came time to light it, oh, and by the way, singing at this wedding was one of my close friends, the speech coach at our college, and he was my advisor and my mentor. If you saw the video I made about the mentors in my life that really made a difference, he was one of these, Dr. Roby. He also had a wonderful singing voice, and so we didn't know any singers, and so we asked him to sing it our way. And he was like, well, what song you want me to sing? I don't know. Sing a wedding song. So he was singing, looking back on it, it's this opera song. And, we didn't know better. And so he's going to sing during the candle lighting ceremony. So he starts singing. I have some footage of it I can play for you.
Lifelong companion, because of God above.
And so he's singing, and we go to light the candles. And you can't really see it from this video that's being shot from the balcony. But the problem was, when we went to take these candles and put them together, the wick was too short. And the edge of the candles that we were holding was up against the main candle, and the flames wouldn't reach the wick. We were trying to light it, it wouldn't light. And it wouldn't light. And so the singing is going. Here's some footage. It took over a minute for us to light this freaking candle. And I'm like, we can't leave it unlit. What a bad metaphor. When we tried to unite these families, well, nothing doing. It's the worst omen ever to not be able to light the candle on the candle lighting ceremony. And so finally, after a minute, I just grabbed that big candle and I turned it upside down. I stuck my candle on it. And so Kathy's candle wasn't technically involved in the lighting. It was my candle, but we got it lit, put it back, blew out our candles. Mission accomplished.
I cherish the treasure the treasure of you, lifelong companion. I give myself to you. For as he works his will in me, I then can love you selflessly, and by his grace can pledge my love to you. We cherish the treasure.
So then they introduced Mr. and Mrs. Jeff Joyner, and we are now officially married. Had our big kiss, the whole thing. And so we go out, and we did have a fun time in they had like a reception hall, and so many of my family and friends, my grandmas were there. People came in from all around the country, aunts and uncles, my parents' friends. A lot of people, and we kind of had a send off, and then off Kathy and I went. Everybody went on their way. They told us later that a bunch of our friends went out that night and had a great time, just kind of celebrating without us. We were on our way to our wedding night and our honeymoon, and but when I look back on it, it was like probably the lamest wedding ever. No food, no music, no dancing. Candle drama, rings bouncing on the ground. Bridesmaid missing in action. But let me tell you some of the lessons looking back on it, right? Number one is, hey, there's no such thing as a perfect anything. You're not going to have a perfect wedding or a perfect day. It was still very memorable. And you know what? I was marrying my best friend. I didn't really care. If I could do it differently, if I could do it different today, not that I have like deep regrets about it or anything, but if I was doing it again today, I would say forget the wedding at the church with everybody wearing suits and ties. Let's get close friends and family and go do something smaller and more intimate. Maybe on a beach somewhere, or in a park. Some of the best weddings that I've been to in my adult life. My friend Paul got married out at Keener Park, and we had a potluck dinner that was awesome. My friends Bruce and Christy got married, and we had a cookout over at Harbin Park, where we played disc golf all the time, and we had like a softball game, and those were a lot more fun than the formal fancy weddings that I've been to, and I've been to a lot of weddings. I used to get asked to stand in weddings all the time, but I had to rent a tuxedo every time. It was costing me a fortune. And so I shifted, like, hey, instead of standing in the wedding, what if I just said the blessing for dinner? I'll say grace, because you don't have to dress up fancy to do that. And so I have said grace or some kind of prayer during the ceremony at dozens of weddings now. And I actually officiated one wedding in Mexico. Maybe that's a story for a video for another day. But I probably would not have gone the church wedding route, and probably wouldn't have invited, so many friends, so many family members that I didn't even really hardly know. I think they came because they feel obligated. Don't know if they really wanted to be there. If I have one regret, I do have one regret for my wedding. And it is, I had some friends who came from like high school. My friend Tammy was there, my friend Pam, my friend Scott from high school, Kirk. And these are people that like got in the car and drove 4 or 5 hours one way to come sit in a church for an hour and watch us say our vows, get a piece of cake, and turn around and go home. And, we got married young. We were 22 years old. We were just out of college. And this whole whirlwind day was all about us, and hello and hi and thanks for coming, and a flurry of emotions and whatever. But, I don't think I really properly thanked those people for coming, and, honestly didn't even really appreciate it like I could have or should have. I think most people have some regrets. A lot of my regrets that I have to do with taking people for granted. And I just didn't. Maybe I was just self-absorbed. Maybe it was just the magic of our big day, and thinking about myself and my wife, and the fun wedding night and honeymoon that was getting ready to come, and so we just said hi to everybody for a few minutes, and then off we went. And it wasn't until I was watching this video back that I was like, that was not convenient for those people to come, and it wasn't cheap for them to come either. Gas in their car, they probably spent the night somewhere. And so I don't know if any of them are going to see this, but if any of our old friends, a lot of my college friends were there too. My friend Guy was there, Jody Culp, who was on the speech team and went on to be a graduate student working with me at Miami University. There's Pam and Tammy, some of my best friends from high school, and they were there. It's my brother Phil in the background there. We did the whole cake thing. We promised not to smush the cake in each other's face, and Kathy still smushed it in my face a little bit. She's sneaky that way. I did not do that back to her, I don't think. And you know, here's our close friend group from college. Mark and Alicia and Lori, me and Kathy, Steve Severance. There's Lisa, who'd already changed into some casual clothes. And Steve, who now lives in Dubai. And oh my gosh, so many memories come back watching this stuff. But you know what? Oh, and there we go. Heading off in my Chevy Lumina Euro. Onto a great life. But you know what? If any of you guys see this thing, anybody who was there that day, I know Greg Plants and Tim Rubin and some of the guys from the dungeon were there. And I appreciate everybody who took a day out of their life, and in some cases a weekend out of their life, to come celebrate with us. I appreciate all you guys. And if I haven't seen you in a while, I hope we get a chance to get together soon. So anyway, so lessons from the big day. Number one, don't worry if it doesn't go perfect. Number two, here's a good thing we did. We did not spend a lot of money in that way. It was pretty inexpensive. When you cut out the food and there's no alcohol like a lot of weddings we've been to, it's a pretty cheap ceremony, to be honest with you. And but my other big lesson is, man, if you got people going out of their way to celebrate with you, they're giving their time, their money, part of their life to celebrate with you, make sure you appreciate them. Make sure you thank them. And I'm just so much more thankful now, boy, for my friends, for my family, for my wife. I'm more thankful for everything now than I used to be. It's probably the biggest change that I've gone through in my life is, youth is wasted on the young, and I didn't realize how good that I had it. And I don't mean good economically. We were kind of middle-class family, and, and I had some opportunities, some things that, some blessings that came my way, some other things that I worked hard for. But I'm talking about just being blessed and thankful for friends and family who care about you and you care about them, and people you can count on, and it's a special thing. It really is. One of my goals here in the next few years is to reconnect with some of those people that I haven't really seen all that much, and in the last 30 years, and see if we can't connect. And now all of our kids now are graduating and getting married and leaving home, and so maybe we'll get a chance to travel together or do something fun. Who knows? So anyway, happy anniversary, Kathy, if you see this video. And even though it was not a perfect wedding ceremony and we haven't had a perfect life, it's been epic. It's been awesome. And I'm very, very thankful for it.